If you have never entered a juried show, this video is for you. Maybe you have entered a few juried shows and you're finding it to be an emotional roller coaster. I have been there, and I want to share with you a couple of things to consider before you enter your next juried show. First thing to consider is your mindset. And the way that I have approached this in my career has always been to focus on painting for myself, regardless of what show deadlines are ahead of me or facing me from my calendar. Why do I do this? Because when I'm sitting down and I'm painting for myself, I have a visual goal. I either am working to improve my edges or my values or my composition or my brushwork. Whatever it may be, I have a visual goal that I am trying to achieve, and I'm painting it for the joy of painting, versus what I started my career doing was painting for a show, painting with the hopes of impressing the juror, the artists that are attending, the collectors that will see the show, in hopes of getting an award, selling my piece. And that was all very emotional. All of those things were emotional goals driven by my ego. Painting for myself has changed my approach and the ability to paint for shows. I would be crippled by this emotional, very egotistic approach when I would sit at the easel and think about the shows I was painting for. And I couldn't paint to the level that I could when I was just painting freely. Think of it like maybe doing a commission. If you've done a commission before, it can be difficult to keep the voices in your head that are telling you, what if the parents don't like it? Will the grandparents think it looks like them? Will they make the final 50% payment? All of those things are going on. Does it look exactly like the person? In your mind can be very distracting. And the same thing happens when we are thinking about the end result of the painting before we have even gone through the process of making the painting. Focus on the process. Paint for yourself, have a visual intention, even if you have a show deadline coming. This is easier said than done, I will admit, but it is something that you can train yourself to become more fluent at. As you do more painting for yourself, and as you then start getting into more shows, you will also begin to detach a little bit of that ego from the outcome of every show entry. At the beginning, it can be very difficult, however. So to the best of your ability, paint for yourself, not for the approval of others or for the show deadline. The second thing that is so helpful when you are wanting to participate in a wider in the wider art world and enter shows is to set your calendar. I have spent a good bit of time in my career looking up shows that I want to enter and putting the deadlines for entry, the opening show dates and their locations on my calendar so that I can not be surprised or find out about the show when I see my friends and my peers posting about their acceptance on Facebook or Instagram, and I had no idea even the show was happening or the deadline for entry has passed. Set your calendar. In a time when you are unemotional about entering shows, so it can just be a calm process rather than a time when you're already behind the gun and the 8-ball is, already rolling towards you. So go through, find the shows that your work would be best suited to. Just because there's a show deadline open doesn't mean that you need to enter it. Even you don't have to enter it if your work would do great in it. It's better to participate in shows excellently with fewer paintings than poorly with lots of paintings. So set your calendar, find the shows that you want to enter, prioritize them, put them on your calendar so that you can make a plan so that you can go into painting for the shows with the mindset we discussed earlier. You have time built into your schedule to be painting for yourself for weeks and weeks and even months, building up a body of work so that by the time that show comes, you can choose from the paintings that you have been working on rather than sitting down 2 days before the show deadline and trying to bang out a masterpiece. Set your calendar. The third thing that I would recommend when it comes to juried shows is when you do get in, to try to prioritize, if at all possible, going to the opening. It's a very exciting thing to go into a gallery and to see how the world is interacting with your work. And from a career standpoint, it is also very powerful to be there physically. Your painting is there speaking for you on the wall, but when you go in person and meet the collector that is buying your painting at the opening and make a personal connection, which then could lead to many more painting sales and a rich lifelong relationship. There's a lot of potential in attending that if you don't go will never come to fruition. So I highly suggest making it a priority to try to attend the opening of the shows that you are entering when you get in. Even better if you get an award. You know, there's so much that can happen. And they say that the best, those who have collected art, your art, are the most likely to collect it again. So again, those relationships and the experiences you can have by going to the opening, you just can't put a price on it or predict what will happen. I also, as a bonus tip, like to have a trusted friend help me choose the paintings that will be going to different shows. Sometimes we're too close to our work and we can't judge what is good and what is bad, what is best. And so sitting down with a trusted friend or texting your mentor or friend, artist friend, my husband helps me with this now, and asking, okay, here are the shows I have, which ones should go where. It's really, really helpful, especially when they are just emotionally not attached to the work. You know, you might love a painting because you love the process and you really want to put it into a show, but it's really not suited for that show. So a bonus tip is having a trusted friend to advise you. Juried shows have really been the way that I have built a career in the art world. I did not go to art school. I was a 17, 18-year-old entering the scene, and by entering juried shows, I built up a curriculum vitae and a name in the art world, and I hope these tips will be helpful to you. I have done all of the opposite things to what I have suggested here, painting from my ego, being surprised by shows and having to scramble to finish a painting before the deadline, and being too emotionally attached, not having someone out there to help ground me. So I hope that through my mistakes, you will be saved some heartache. I'm looking forward to seeing your next post online about the show that you have just gotten into. As artists, sometimes we feel like we need to be at a certain level before we can even consider entering shows, and we don't have the confidence in our work because we don't have the ability to paint as frequently as we want, or whatever the reason may be. My Patreon, Broadcasting Brushers, was born to help this particular pain point for artists, to give people an opportunity to gather together and to paint twice a month for 3 hours from a live model, so that if making time for yourself to paint is difficult, or you don't have access to a larger art community to get advice from, and you're just not getting that repetition in, there is a set time and a set day for you to be expected to show up to prioritize yourself and your art creation. Maybe having time in front of a model or time painting is not hard for you to come by. You are doing full days of painting, but you really have no community and you're doing it all alone. Broadcasting Brushers is an online life painting group. I am actually sitting right here every 2 weeks painting a live model. You can see my painting, my canvas, and my palette, and the live model in 4K resolution to paint your own piece or draw your own piece. I hope you'll consider checking it out. See you soon.